Good morning, everyone. Hey, what's going on, guys? All right. Well, it's morning here anyway. And so if it's morning where you're at as well, good morning. If it's evening where probably most of you are, good evening. And just hope you're all doing good. How are you doing? You ready to watch some Kyrios today? I'm ready to build this up after I was up. Finished getting this ready about 2:30 a.m. last night. I was hoping to have everything all prepped and done not quite so late, but I was up pretty late getting it all ready for the live stream today because I can't put the live stream off until tomorrow because tomorrow we've got the new episode of Gunpla Critique that we're going to be doing. So gotta do that tomorrow. So I just had to do this today. Couldn't put it off till next week. Who can wait that long? So it's ready, and I'm ready to go. I got a gigantic size coffee to go with my work today here. G Kito, the new studio is very good. I'm liking it. I think it's working out good. As a lot of people said in the update video I did, and then also the video yesterday with the HG Gundam that I showed you guys. A lot of people were commenting saying that they liked the new background and all that, so that's good. I like it, and if you guys like it, then I'm happy with this whole recording space as well. And this is my first time doing a live build here as well, and it seems like it's going to be good for live building as well. I think the lighting here on the building space is a little bit better than in my old room as well too. So that's good. Good for you guys. I mean, you can see what I'm working on a little bit better. So that's good. Still thinking about maybe replacing this camera though. I'm not super happy with the quality of it, but I don't know. So yeah. How's everyone doing? Let's see. Let's just say hello to some folks here. Sergeant Derp Guy, Ariano, Gluttonaria, Alvin, Zoo, Acid Blade. See some familiar names and some less familiar names. How's everybody doing? Brendan, hey, how's it going? Congrats on the result of the build. Thank you. It came out amazing. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that came out. Scale Model Eric, hey, how's it going? Garcia X, I can see you guys' comments there on Facebook and on Twitch as well, so if you're watching there, I can see your comments there also. Jordan over on Facebook, hey there. D'Angelo, Luke, Ethan, this is Ethan. William, Rikuku, Anthony, hey guys. So, yeah, let's get to work. We got the build that I'm going to do, and then right after the build, I'm going to have a small lunch break and then work on the review straight away this afternoon. So hopefully we'll have the review all done later, by the end of today. That's my goal. So it's all Kyrios all day long today. And then tomorrow, after the Gunpla Critique video in the morning, live stream in the morning, then in the afternoon I'm going to be working on the next work in progress for the God Gundam resin kit. So I'll work on that tomorrow, and then depending on how that goes, but I'm assuming it should go well enough that I can then have another work in progress video for that resin kit for you guys to watch this weekend. So, all right, let's get into it, shall we? So, as usual with these MG 00 kits, we build the GN drive first. But you have, I'm trying to think back to the Dynamace and any other 00 MG kits that I've built. If you always build the backpack at the same time as the torso, a lot of MGs don't do that. Like, you build the backpack later on. But maybe because a lot of the 00 backpacks are just kind of integrated into the torso, so maybe you kind of build them. Maybe it's normal. I don't remember how normal it is, but at least in the case of this kit, we are building the backpack at the same time as the torso. It's right in the following step. It's not even a separate step. It's all within the same subheading of just building the torso, building the backpack at the same time. So, Winged Wolf, hey, how you doing? Over there on Twitch. Gordon's builds. Hello. What's my opinion on the entry grade stuff? Oblivion, my opinion on the entry grade kits. Well, so far we only have the one that's been announced. But like I said in, I think it was the news video, I think I mentioned, right? I hope that they will do at least a couple more. I don't imagine that it's going to become like a like well-established grade, like master grade, a high grade. They're not going to do a ton of entry grade kits, I would imagine. But hopefully they'll at least do like a Zaku as well. I would imagine that's probably gonna be mostly it. If they start like a new anime series like sometime next year or something like that, maybe they'll do another entry grade like related to whatever like the lead Gundam is for the new series. But I mean, it looks cool. Like I said in the news video, I think that the another 1/44 scale RX-782 kit, maybe not the most exciting thing, but the kit looks great and it's super cheap, so that's good. And let's see, Ian over there on YouTube. Thank you for using the super chat. I appreciate that as well. Let's see, you said. Let's see, actually. The comments moving away from me. I love that USA Gundam Store got their own custom pin vise. I've had mine for about 2 years. They're great tools. Yeah, I agree. Really, I mean, as I said in my hangout with Adam the other day, it's a super useful tool I use all the time. So if you guys have never got one and you like supporting USA Gundam Store, pick up one of those USA Gundam Store pin vise sets. Because yeah, it's a super useful thing to have. I use it all the time. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Mafiu said, what do you think about Bandai trademarking the term Master Grade Extreme? And what do you expect the line will be? Yeah, I don't know. I just saw something very briefly about that yesterday, so I really don't know what to really make of that at this point. So I know they've got the Perfect Grade Unleashed coming out, and now they're making the Master Grade Extreme coming out as well too. So I mean, cool, I guess. I don't know. It's not really much to say, as we don't really have much to go off of yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. But all right. So these GN drive parts are always very specific how they need to go together, so I need to make sure I'm putting these together correctly. But as always, guys, if you watch my live streams, if you guys do want to ask any question to me directly, it's helpful if you tag me in your comment, in your question, so that I can see that. It's easier to see, or you can put your comment in all caps. That way it's easy for me to pick it out amongst the comments, because some people are just chatting, kind of commenting, whatever. That's fine, but just for the people who might have specific questions, I want to be able to pick those out when I get a chance to glance up at the screen, you know? The other thing about these GN drives typically, which I find to be a little bit annoying, is that if you don't have an LED unit in there, then this back part tends to just push in where it's not really supposed to, so that's also kind of annoying. We'll see if this one does as well. I think probably it will have the same issue again. We're getting new lines out the wazoo. Yeah, Gunpla, Evo, PG Unleashed, MG Extreme. Yeah, where's it all going? I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily assume really that it's like going anywhere. I think it's Bandai just trying things. You know, any business has to try some new things now and then, just to kind of test the water, see what works, see what people like, see what can make them more money, basically, right? So here's what I mean. So like this back part of the GN drive is like a little bit expanded, and you're meant to be able to open or close that to let the light in or out, depending on, you know, how if you have the light in there. But the problem is when you close it, if there's no LED unit inside there, it just the inside part just kind of falls into the inside of there. Doesn't sound like it came loose though, so it sounds like it stayed together. That's good. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but just thought I'd mention that. Sticker B, 40. All right, we gotta put a big sticker here. Acid Blade. Oh, thank you again for using the super chat. Let's see. Hey Zach, how do you measure the amount of paint when you use to get ready to paint MG, HG, PG, HG, MG? I'd like to paint some Hazel kits in Titan's colors, but I'm not sure how much to use. Well, there's a couple ways maybe that I'm wondering exactly how you mean that question, but hang on, let me focus to get this sticker on here without messing it up, hopefully. If you're talking about like how much, like you're wondering how to maybe like guesstimate how much paint you're gonna need for like the entire kit. So like say for example, because this is a question that I sometimes have seen for like someone wants to paint an MG kit and they're using spray cans. They're wondering how many spray cans worth of paint they're gonna need, for example. In that case, just like on the example of a master grade, usually like one spray can of primer should be enough. And then depending on how many colors you use, just like one can per color really should be enough for pretty much anything. Unless it's a PG, then obviously you will need more. So like if you're using spray cans, for most things, one spray can of each color should be enough. As long as it's not something too big. If you're talking about like for airbrushing though, you go through paint pretty slowly. You would need one bottle of paint for each color for the kit, but you won't use it all, definitely, unless it's a big kit. Like say for example, you're painting like the Master Grade XS kit. You will probably maybe need more than just one bottle of white, because it's a pretty big kit, it has a lot of white parts. So like it's likely you would use more than one bottle of white for that kit because it's so big. But for most other kits, one bottle of each color should be more than enough for what you would need. Now, if that is not the meaning of your question, if you were meaning to ask more like how much to prepare, like in the cup, sorry, in the cup of the airbrush, I can usually kind of guesstimate it. If I know I'm gonna need a lot, then I know I'm gonna have to refill the cup later. I don't worry about filling up the cup too much. I think it's just something you could just kind of get used to over time. You'll of course just get the experience of being able to kind of estimate about how much paint you're gonna need, how much paint you'll go through. And different paints also work a little bit differently too. So like for example, SMS paints are pre-thinned, so you don't have to also mix in thinner with them. So that might be, you might not need as much or might need more paint in your cup for the same number of parts, where if you were preparing to use a different brand of paint, you might prepare a different amount of paint in your cup for that, for example. So does that kind of generally answer the question? Acid Blade, feel free to clarify your question further there. I'll look out for your comment if I didn't answer it well enough for you already. Feel free to clarify and I'll elaborate on that. He said, thanks, that really gives me a good idea how much paint I'll need to use. Okay, well, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Sorry, I can't be too much more specific, but it really depends on the circumstances, depends on the kits. But, yeah. Generally, whether you're using spray cans or airbrushing, one bottle or one can of each color should be enough, unless you have particularly a lot of one color. Okay, we got to use some of these here. as well too. These cool guys. Also, Joseph, thanks for using the super chat. But it looks like if you had a message that was with there, it was redacted, or retracted. But thanks for using that anyway. Is it possible to mix clear paints to make it lighter, like making clear blue into sky blue? Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know whether you want to mix opaque paint into clear paint or clear paint into opaque paint. Either way, I mean, you're gonna change the opacity by mixing them, but you can mix them, yeah, sure. There's not any problem with that. Let's see, this is E. Oh, this would be the front then, I guess, eh? I actually had it backwards. Which way would be the front or the back? I just think Bandai can split anime accuracy and detail in MG line. Yeah, people kind of have their preferences between anime accuracy or like just more detail or stylistic type stuff, don't they? Melvin asks, hey Zach, you planning to paint this Kyrios? I've been thinking about it and I would like to. Just because it's a new cool kit and it's a design that I like. I would like to paint it up straight away, but I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on, so probably not. Probably won't be able to paint it up right away. But hopefully by the end of the year. But I don't know. There's always new projects and stuff that I want to work on and things, so I don't know. We'll see. I would like to just be able to just paint it up straight away. But as you guys know, I'm working on the God Gundam resin kit, and then straight after that I want to start working on the next Trash to Treasure series. And based on people's usual comments regarding the Trash to Treasure series, I don't think anyone's going to really be complaining too much if I'm focused on trying to start that sooner than later, because people have already been waiting pretty long. Seems like a lot of people are excited for that. Patrick, thanks again for using the super chats. What did you say here? Thinking about GP01 PG, what are your thoughts? I've always been kind of interested in it. I've obviously never built one here on my channel, and I mean, you guys don't know about like everything that's in my backlog, but I don't have one. Yes, so it is always like it has always been cool, and I've talked about this before too. Like some of the old PGs, like the PG Mark II. The PG Zeta, of course, too, I don't really think look very good. The PG Zaku as well, those old PGs. But the PG GP01 I think does actually look pretty good. So it's always been something I've been kind of interested in, but just never really been interested in enough to pull the trigger on buying one. But I think it looks pretty cool, definitely. So I would say, if you're interested, I would say go for it. So, shoot, hang on. There we go. Max asked, favorite Gundam Gunpla also PG GP01 is good in your opinion. You have it all. So there you go. There's a second opinion. Anyone else who has the kit, feel free to chime in with your opinions on that as well. But I'm sure universally, probably most people that have it would say that it's an enjoyable kit. It's everything that I've ever heard about it. I've never really heard too much people complain about it. People complain about like the PG Zeta, and never really heard too much really is people complaining about the PG Zaku, like in terms of like the build quality. I've heard of people not liking the proportions of it because it's got kind of ugly proportions, to be honest. But same thing for the Mark II. Like I never really heard too much in the way of people complaining about like the actual engineering of the kit or something, because it's still a pretty cool kit, I guess, but just the proportions are kind of weird. It's old, that's all. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna build these shoulder parts, if we may. What do you think about Hallelujah, Hallelujah as characters? Well, I'll admit it's been a long time since I've watched Double O. And I'm pretty sure I only like watched the series once, so I'm not like an expert by any means on the lore, the characters, anything like that. But as far as I can remember, like he was a cool character, because like I mean like that was his character was to be like the kind of cool guy who was like the little bit more level-headed guy, right? But then he later also had like this split personality or something, whatever. So like that was his character. Like he was the level-headed guy, but then something happened and he became not the level-headed guy. And is that a giant fly or a spider? Okay, it's a giant fly. So I mean, yeah, fine character, but yeah, I don't remember the series that well enough to be honest. Dianju, thank you for using the super chat. Let's see. Oh, okay, sorry, we'll very behind here in the chat over on this screen, so sorry about that. Hang on. Just to go back to what Acid Blade was saying there, you said, sorry I missed this later comment you made. I'll be airbrushing and using Mr. Color and Gaia notes, and the ordiner will be Nazca. Anyway, Nazca and servers. Yeah, if you're airbrushing, one bottle of each paint should be plenty enough. Bad Gunpla here, there. Coming on Twitch. How's it going, guys? I see a Twitch raid was going on. I missed that. Sorry, guys. And now I'm getting a call. Why? Who's this? Sorry. 여보세요? 여보세요? Yeah. Nope. You got the wrong number, my dude. You got the wrong number, my dude. You got the wrong number, dude. I love when I get a wrong number from a Korean, because usually, like, if it's like someone I know who's Korean who's calling me in Korean, I'll talk in Korean. But if it's a wrong number, then I'll just talk to them in English. They're just really confused. All right. Sorry, Dianjo here. Okay. You said, would airbrushing, spray painting outside be viable if painting indoors is not an option? If, for example, if you have a limited space of poor ventilation. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're using spray cans. A lot of people spray can outside. The thing about spray canning outside is you have to be careful about the humidity, especially. Inside, you have your aircon or whatever that can help control the humidity inside the house. But outside, there's not really a lot that you can do with it. So if it's particularly humid or hot or cold, that can kind of mess with your paint a little bit. So you need to be careful about that. But absolutely, you can do it outside. And especially for spray cans, you should certainly do that outside. Because that's spraying lacquer paint, and it's very bad for health to breathe that. So, yeah. When I used to use spray cans, I spray painted on my balcony, as you guys may have seen in some of my old videos. But even before that, when I first started painting, when I was living in Japan, I was spray painting on my balcony there in Japan. Yeah, airbrushing outside I think would be a little bit kind of uncomfortable, to be honest. I think it's much more comfortable to just sit, like inside, in like having like a proper space. But I know people do it. It's not unheard of. I know, like, for example, I want to say, I think it's Alan McConnell. I'm not sure if he was running that or he was just also involved. But anyway, in Australia, I know they have like meetups and stuff where they have spray booths set up for people to just use. People who maybe don't have a spray booth at home to use. They have an airbrush set up stuff, and they usually do that like outside because they're usually like barbecuing and stuff, and so they'll have like just everything set up outside and stuff like that. So I know like they do it like that, for example, and I think those Gundam guys do it as well when they had their meetups and things. And I think they sometimes do that outside, like in the garage or something, so it's like partly outside. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. You said I can keep using my gas mask when the pandemic's over. Yeah. Even if you are spraying outside, I would still, especially if you're using lacquer paints, I would still recommend using a mask because the wind is still going to blow the fumes and stuff back at you. So just to be sure that you're inhaling as little of that as possible, I would still recommend wearing a mask, even if you're outside. Alright, where is this little piece? There, oh, it's right in front of me. There we are. So we got this little guy, and this one goes in here first. Like that, and then this one on here, and this one in here, and this one, nope, not that one, not yet. This one on the back of here. Sorry, I guess focusing on the build for a minute. Trying to answer your questions and chat with you guys as well, but can't be here all day long. Need to get this done as well, so hang tight. See if that's like that, and this one is for the opposite side, like that. Noam said, I was thinking about using pre-diluted acrylic paints like those used in the miniature painting for hand detailing, weathering. Do you have any advice? I would say go for it. I don't really know too much about that, to be honest, but if that's used for like a miniature painting and stuff, then I'm sure it would work fine for Gunpla stuff, as far as I know. I mean, you could always try and find out. It'd be the best thing. But if anyone else knows any differently, feel free to chime in on that. But as far as I know, it should be fine. Do you know like the specific type of brand or type of paint or whatever exactly? Mike Jones, hello. Shoreline, Washington. Have you tried or plan to try chrome paint like Modo Super Chrome? No, the only chrome paint that I've ever used, I have sprayed lacquer chrome a little bit, but very little. And hang on, sorry. Why is this piece not wanting to fit on here? And I have some enamel chrome as well. I've used like just for a little bit of detail painting and stuff, and so that's really all I've ever used of any type of chrome paint. So not super into the look of chrome for stuff, except for just like little details and like that, basically. But no, I've never tried that, and I don't have any plans to try necessarily that type of paint either. But you know, if the situation called for it, then you know I'd be open to it. But I think for probably almost anything, I would use something else, like just a silver or something, instead of actually using chrome. Like for example, if I was painting like the crossbone, what is it? The crossbone ghost, right? That's the silver one, right? Probably in that case, I would, you know, just use a silver. Like it's kind of like chromey silver, kind of. I think it is silver anyway, but it's a kit that I could see, you know, some other people probably going the chrome route for that particular kit, but like I would just use silver, just for an example. Dang. Okay, this piece doesn't really want to stay in there, but it will once we get this attached. So let's get this put on here. And I gotta say, I'll tell you guys a secret. Hang on. This may not be a secret for everyone, but as much as I make Gunpla YouTube videos, I don't actually watch a lot of them, to be honest. So sorry to my friends in the community who are also content creators. I don't actually watch a lot of Gunpla content on YouTube. But every now and then I do. And like, you know, there are some people that I tried to catch their videos. But I did watch Mecha Gaikotsu's review for this kit, just because I was just interested in what he had to say for it. And he mentioned about the orange being a different orange from other orange kits that Bandai's made recently, and I think he mentioned like the what is it, the Blastmaster, that gym kit, the gym Blastmaster or whatever. And when I opened the box, I thought, that looks, to me the color looks exactly the same as that gym. But I don't know. I didn't get the kit. I didn't build it. But as far as I can tell, the color looks pretty much exactly the same to me. I know he built the kit, so I don't know. Maybe he threw it away and he didn't still have it on hand to be able to compare side to side. But to me, the orange looks exactly the same as that orange that Bandai used for the gym Blastmaster. That's the name of it, right? Anyway. Just a side point. As for the color of this orange, I think it looks fine. It looks cool. I mean, it's a little bit obnoxious, but when the kit all comes together, I think it looks cool. The color on its own, it is like when I was looking at the runner, I was like, ugh, yeah, yuck. It didn't really look good, but I mean, as it's coming together, it looks cool, no doubt. But anyone else also have this kit or have the gym Blastmaster? And can anyone make any comment on that? Am I wrong, or what? The color looks the same to me. I suppose what I could do is check the manual for that. I can check the scans of the manual and compare. But the official color of what Bandai puts in the manual doesn't always exactly match the color of the plastic, obviously. So it's not the most foolproof way to check that, but just out of curiosity, I want to look here. Also looks like very similar to the orange used for the Gym 3 Beammaster. Oh, is that what it was? Oh shit, I did build that kit. What was it? I was thinking of something different. What was I thinking of? I did build that. Oh, well, I was thinking of and the Blastmaster was different. That was definitely a different orange. Sorry. I was thinking of the Beammaster. I was confused. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the Gym 3 Beammaster is the kit that I was thinking of. And that was the kit that I did build. And yeah, the orange, now that I'm looking at pictures of the kit on Dalong, now the orange does actually look a little bit different. But I'm still curious what the color is listed as in the manual. Let's see. In the manual, it's 40% white, 30% orange, yellow, and 20% orange. In terms of, so yeah, so it's definitely a different mixture. This one is 65% orange, so it's a much more like pure orange color, and then 35% orange yellow. So this one doesn't have any white in it at all, and that one's got a lot more white in it in the Gym Beammaster. So anyway. Alright, well, so we checked and I was wrong about that, but as far as I could remember, the orange looked pretty similar. Not that noticeably different, but Yeru Gundam, that's a good point. Over there on Twitch, he said that the Power Gym has a similar orange to it, I think. Yeah, you're probably right about that. It's probably very similar to that one, which I thought I brought here. But maybe I didn't. Oh no, I packed that. Dang. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. It was just a side note, just something I thought of while once I popped the box. But one other thing also... Huh? This doesn't really... when it comes to like comparing kits and things like that too, so like remembering like which runner was used with which kit, or which parts were used with which kit, or which color exactly some parts were in some different kits in the past. Even if it's a kit that I've built, my memory is awful. I'm just bad at that. I'm just not good. So like sometime like for my unboxing or review videos or whatever like that, I'll be talking about like, for example, a set of beam saber effect parts, and like I'll say, oh yeah, this was from 2007, so I think probably these were originally used with the original Master Grade XC or something like that. I don't remember actually well enough to know for sure. I'm just guessing. But there are people who are actually much better at like actually remembering that kind of thing, and they'll usually point it out in their reviews. They'll say, no, actually, and it doesn't really bother me. Some people kind of get annoyed by that. It doesn't bother me that much, but it's kind of like more surprising to me, or like I'm just kind of more amazed at how good other people are at remembering stuff like that. Because maybe it is like because I just build a lot of stuff, so it's just kind of the building experience is just kind of in and out. Don't really actually remember a lot of stuff, but that could be the case. What were we talking about? Raphael, have you already got the new set of Mac K35 Gotchanen kits? I think I saw some pictures of them being released already. Yeah, Raphael, I also saw the pictures of those, and as far as I've seen, I've not seen them available online anywhere yet, unfortunately. I'm sure probably on like some of the Japanese auction sites there may be some now, because they have been released in the gashapon machines in Japan, but usually you can like get them online as well by just like ordering like a box of them or something like I've done before, but haven't seen anything about them being online yet. I'm watching though carefully. That's volume 3 of the Mac K Gotchanen capsules. I've got the volume 2 here next to me, this. Yeah, volume 3, what is it? The Cause and what was the other one? The Raptor, the Cause, and what was the third one? But yeah, the set looks awesome. So I would definitely hope to at least get a couple of them. Will just end up buying a box as usual, but a couple will probably be fine. I don't necessarily need a whole box of them, but we'll see what I can get my hands on anyway. Joseph, thank you for using the super chat. I appreciate that. So sorry I was delay to getting to responding to your super chat there. I was finishing the point about the Mac K capsule kits there, but Joseph said, I forgot to type in the first one, but is okay, yeah, okay, I got it. Is there any way you can help me with customer support? I've gotten not gotten a response, by the way. I'm guessing you mean customer support with USA Gundam Store. I can't really help you like in this way. If you message me on my Facebook page if you can, and then I'll try to help you. But just aside from that, just in terms of just getting in touch with USA Gundam Store, what I would recommend you to do is try their Facebook page as well, messaging their Facebook page. If you tried that already and that didn't work, then email, phone call. If you've exhausted all of those options, then send me a message, and I can pass that along and hopefully get you sorted out. Hasaki, hey, how's it going? Hello there. Don't think Zach has gotten the RGA. Yeah, I have not gotten the RGA. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. Mine is still back ordered as well. So, yeah. Dang. It's like the Eva Unit 0 is going to be out before I end up getting the Unit 1. There we go. There's the backpack, if you can call it that. Back of the torso. Done. And it's pretty cool. I like the back of the GN drive for this one. How it's just got like this like flat cover like that. Just kind of very simple cover for that. So that's cool. Don't really like this, again, backpack in quotation marks, the back of this. It's kind of weird because it just looks like a folded over nose cone. But, I mean, it's not that noticeable part of the kit really. But there's the torso done. Finally, it took a while. Only took us 40 minutes. But alright, let's move on then, shall we? To the head. Raphael said, looking forward to your reviews of them. They're really hard to get here in the Philippines. Yeah. So, far I built the Heinrich from Volume 2, and a friend, I got help from a friend getting last year. Yeah, Heinrich is a cool one. The Heinrich is one that I'm planning on using to... I've got it over there, and it's been like in my kind of hobby zone little display case bit there for a while. Because what I was planning on doing with the Heinrich, I wanted to do the modification to it where you just cut out the joints and then just use a wire and putty to remake the joints to change the pose of it, because you know those are just like kind of basically fixed posed. But I wanted to repose it in like kind of like a more dynamic pose. So I wanted to make a video about how to modify those joints to do that in one of those 1/35 scale Mac K kits, but haven't gotten around to making that video yet, obviously. But it is something that's on my to-do list, so hopefully we'll get around to that soon. And DT Warrior, as always, thanks for the super chat support there. Hello. Good morning to you as well. The original rollout build came out awesome. Thank you. The Origin real type colors, I think you mean. Thank you. I appreciate that. The rollout colors will be maybe the next one or the next one. I'm still on the fence as to between the Beyond Global and the entry grade, which one I want to do in rollout colors and which one I want to do in char colors. Or maybe do one of them in original colors. But I kind of want to just stick with doing them all in alternate colors. Yeah, I've been on the fence. Not quite entirely decided yet. Does the GN drive on the Kyrios take an LED? Yes, RF, you can put 2 LEDs in there. Basically, just like whether they're 00 kits, you have 2 LED units in there. One is pointing out the back, one's pointing out the front. So we got a couple of stickers we need to lay down here on the head camera, which very interestingly, this head camera is just silver instead of being like green or whatever. The eyes are green, so typically the eyes and the head camera will match, but the head camera is just plain silver on this, which is quite unique, I think. There we go. Delete Titan said, any tips on how to loosen the shoulder joints of the RG Banshee Norn? I hope to avoid the horror stories. I'm not really well aware of horror stories related with that particular part of that kit, so I'm not sure what you mean. But as far as loosening the joint, if the joint is super tight, what you can do is always just sand it a little bit. And someone, I think it was on my Facebook page if I remember correctly, someone was asking me about this actually the other day, about the Master Grade Alex, sanding the wrist joints on that. And when it comes to sanding a joint like that just to make it a little bit looser, it doesn't really matter if you use sandpaper or sanding stick or whatever, even if you alter the shape a little bit, because he was asking about like if the ball joint for the Master Grade Alex wrist, if you're using like a sanding stick or whatever, and you lose the perfectly spherical shape of the ball joint by like making one side a little bit more flat or something, then it really doesn't matter. The point is that as long as it fits in and it's still able to move, then it's fine. It doesn't actually need to be a perfectly spherical. like that, just for that example. But as for shoulder joint, I mean, it would be the same thing. Same idea would apply there. This goes like this, right? Okay. So even though I don't really particularly care for the backpack of this Gundam, damn, I forgot this part. I do really love the head design. I mean, and other aspects, and pretty much every other aspect of it as well, really. It's really just only kind of the backpack that I don't really care for too much. But it's a pretty unique head design. I can understand why maybe some people don't like, but I like it. Here we go. I like the kind of fin out the top of it. Really adds to the whole kind of motif of this sort of supposed to be looking like a kind of flight unit, right? So, or like a flight specialized Gundam. So it's cool. Zem, thank you very much for using the super chat there. Really appreciate that. Keep up the awesome content. Also, for someone that is new to trying to kit bash with a 30-minute missions line, with its cheap pricing, so this would be a great place to start. Yeah, absolutely. A 30-minute mission line would be great to practice your kit bashing, like getting a feel for kit bashing. Although, I will just say that it would be good for like kit bashing on easy mode, but then when you're maybe later when you're transitioning to working on kit bashing with like Gunpla kits, you're gonna find it's not much more difficult because it depends on what you're working on, but it's a whole other different ball game because 30 minutes missions are kind of like made to be kit bashed, where Gunpla kits are in most cases not. So like a lot of the skills that you'll need for kit bashing Gunpla you won't learn from kit bashing 30 minutes missions. So like about making different modifications to things like that. So it would be good for just like kind of getting an idea for just like the aesthetics of kit bashing, like learning about just based on looks alone what parts go together well here or there or whatever, you know what I mean? But you won't really be getting much experience in the like technical skills needed for doing kit bashing, like how to modify joints and all that. So I would say, yeah, go for it if you are into 30-minute mission stuff. But if you wanted to get more experience doing more actual modifications and things like that, then try working on some high-grade stuff. I think would be better. So hopefully that answers that well enough for you. Lunar said, do you have any tips painting smaller details on HG kits like head Vulcans and having trouble hand painting them? Not really. I mean, just using a really tiny brush. And depending on what paint you're using, you probably maybe want to thin it down a little bit. A lot of times I won't thin down when I'm doing like little tiny hand painted details, and I usually do that with enamel paints, and usually not thinning down the paint when I do that because it's just not really needed for such a small detail. But yeah, it depends on what you're painting. And so other than that, I mean, there's not really too much that you can do except it just takes practice. I mean, and steady breathing. Just take it slow, and be prepared to have to redo it or fix it when you inevitably mess up and get paint where you didn't mean to get paint or whatever, which is bound to happen. Happens to me all the time. It's just kind of a part of detail painting. You can be really super good at it, but you'll still mess up from time to time a little bit. So never really understand this about the 00 kits too. I have these really super dark green stickers to cover up the clear parts. I really don't understand that one, but I guess it is what it is. And that's the way it is. There we go. There's that. Then just the top of the head. Over here. Like that. There we go. And the V-fin. And I also like how the head camera, it's cool that it's just in like plain silver chrome, so it's unique in its color, but also how it's just it doesn't fit exactly in the shape. So it usually like the top of the head will be like this shape, and then the camera will be like fit exactly to that same shape, but it's a different shape entirely inside here. So you have this with this pentagonal shape here, and then just the camera is just this rectangle shape just there in the center, like just floating there in the center. So it's cool. Anyway, it's got a unique look to it. I like that. So there we go. Head's looking very cool with the red part underneath the eyes too as well. Looks very cool. Kind of very Destiny-esque, how the Destiny has like the red scars there kind of under the eyes. So it's not quite as extended far down like that, like the Destiny, but similar kind of look to that anyway. It looks cool. So there we are. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. Just Zem, like, catching up with your follow-up comment here. Cool, thanks. I have done some modeling, but not kit bashing with Gunpla, so just getting Gradia at low cost, my big thing. Yeah, I can understand. Also, you want to 30 minutes missions are good because they're low cost as well, but you can get other, pretty cheap HG kits as well. That can work out pretty well. Some of the cheaper build divers, like build fighters kits and stuff like that. For example, like the HG, what's that? The Impulse. There's the set of them. Just for an example, it's a pretty cheap one. The Impulse. What were they called? There was two of them. Like the two matching ones. Like one was like pink and the other one was purple. Anyway, yeah. There's other different cheap HG kits that you can find to use, surely. Someone, I'm sure one of you guys will help me out with the name on that. Thank you. There you go. Thank you, Alvin. The Lancier and the Arc. Yes, the Impulse Lancier and the Impulse Arc. Great kits. A couple of the kits that I felt were very underrated. Didn't really, I think a lot of people weren't all that excited about them, but I enjoyed them quite a bit. I liked them a lot, just the style of the kits. The style, the color of the kits were really cool. Those two, I think, were very underrated. And then also the other one that I thought was really underrated was the Shining Break. It's a really underrated kit. It's a great HG kit in the line, I think. Amongst a lot of other stuff that was just all kind of mediocre, not really all that stand out. The Shining Break I thought was really good. So, that's just my 2 cents on that. Let's see, Rocket Walrus asked, hey Zach, what do you have running for music in the background? It's nice. It's just some free music I found on YouTube. Just searching for like free, like cafe, lo-fi kind of music, stuff like that. It was hard to find one that was just like one long file, because you can always find, like, if you're searching for that type of music, you can find the ones that are like an hour or 2 hours long or something like that. But a lot of times they're including some copywritten music in there, or all copywritten music. Or you'll just like find stuff that's just live streaming, and obviously I can't live stream the music from YouTube back to YouTube through OBS here. So it was kind of tricky to find something that was long format and completely copyright free. But finally I did find one that I've been using for a while, so I should change it forever. You guys are probably well tired of it by now, I suppose, but I should change it up when I can. Put me together, quit talking. Okay. Alright. So, arms next. Let's Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, late to the party. Hey, Brian. Yeah, you're not that late. I'm not that far into the build so far. I've only built the torso and the head, basically, so... it's alright, it's been kind of slow going so far. But arms and legs are usually pretty quick, because you build one and the second one's really quick and simple to build. Because you already built the first one. Got this little tab. I was looking at this like while I was getting the parts prepped and everything, like this little tab here that you need to put into the shoulder, and I was thinking, what's that for? And it's just now clicking in my mind, it's for the transformation, obviously. It's probably a little tab that you're going to fold out to use for the transformation. As far as the transformation of this kit, it's not the worst looking, but it's not really one that I really care too much for either. So I'll transform it once in the review and probably never again after that. And we need holographic part A. When you pop these out, they do kind of have like a little bit rough edges that I think you could like try to clean up a little bit with a knife. You would have trouble cleaning up too well some of that, but basically I'm just not really worried about it too much. Let's see, how is this meant to go in there? Like this. Have you watched the music video for the song Fear and Delight by The Correspondents? The singer looks like he could be your twin. No, I've never seen that, never heard of that band, group. I don't know them. But let me check, hang on. What did it say? Fear and Delight. Let me just pop it up real quick, I'll see. Can't type. Okay, so I mean, yeah, he's got the glasses and he's white and just got kind of similar hair, so I guess I can see the resemblance, yeah. Do you know Death Grips? Yeah, Mr. Super Gamer. Yes, I do know Death Grips. I'm not really that big of a fan though. From what I haven't, to be fair, I haven't listened to a ton of Death Grip stuff, but my roommate in college was a fan, so I heard some off of him, and wasn't really into it at that time. But I don't know, maybe I would be more into it now. That's 10 years ago now, so maybe it's something that I would be more into now. I just never really gave it another try. This live video of Zach's makes me want to build kits again. You quit last year. Well, James, yeah, I would say go for it. Start building stuff again. If you can. I mean, maybe you quit because of other responsibilities or whatever took priority. So I can understand that. If that's the case, I'm not gonna pressure you to be irresponsible in your priorities, but assuming that you can, I would say that I hope you can get back to building soon. Good news, I ordered the MG Gelgoog 2.0 off Amazon. Bad news, it's Char's Gelgoog because the normal Gelgoog are apparently extinct. Yes. And the other bad news, I think, I have to check to be sure, is I think Char's Gelgoog doesn't come with the rifle parts for the grenade launcher attachment on the rifle. Is that right, guys? Someone can check me on that. But I think it's just only the standard type has the parts, the extra parts to make the grenade launcher attachment on the beam rifle. Right. Someone let me know if I'm right or wrong on that, but Master Grade Dual Gundam is your favorite master grade? Yeah, it's a great master grade. I'll agree with that. Spade over there on Twitch, how's it going? It's going good, man. I'm building a master grade kit that so far is pretty nice. Shars doesn't have the grenade launcher or the bipod, but it comes with the car. Yeah, that's the trade-off. Yes, Wesley, thanks for clearing that up. I always forget that the Shars version comes with the car. Yeah, so I mean, not a bad trade-off. Personally, I prefer the bipod and grenade launcher for the beam rifle because I don't really like the design of the Gelgoog's beam rifle, but with those extra parts added on it, I do like it a lot more. So. Definitely the standard version would be the one that I would want if I was going for a master grade Gelgoog. But honestly, at the same time, you can't really go wrong. Either way, it's a really, really great kit. So you may not have the exact extra little part that you wanted, but it's an awesome kit either way. So. Shoop. We got the super pointy shoulders, and this part, which goes on the back here, which actually is on a small little ball joint. I was expecting it to just be plugged straight onto the back, but it's on there on this little ball joint, so it can actually move a little bit on there as well. So that's kind of cool. Dude, do you hate bootleg MG kits? I only want and love MG Dual Gundam, no Daban model in my home. I don't hate bootleg MG kits. I've built a couple in the past. I still own 2 of them, but I wouldn't buy any more of them at this point. Dianjo said I should also try to hunt down the 1.0 kit just so I can get my hands on a high mobility backpack. Yes, for the Gelgoog. Yeah, the Gelgoog. The 1.0 MG is the one that has the parts to make the cannon backpack too, right? Am I remembering that correctly or not? Because then I think with the P Bandai version, sorry, hang on. Did I miss a step somewhere? No, maybe not. Sticker 4. With the P Bandai version, basically they just used like the backpack and the arm parts from the 1.0 and then just adapted them onto the 2.0 kit, right? So, oh shit, where did that go? Yeah, the 1.0 has the cannon type. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, but the 2.0 is definitely a much, much better kit in general, but yeah, using the cannon parts or like the cannon type backpack and stuff on there would be cool. Have you ever finished the 1/100 scale Kshatriya resin kit? Well, I don't have a Kshatriya resin kit, but the 1/100 scale Kshatriya kit that I do have is certainly not finished yet, no. Unfortunately. And let's see. That clear part is supposed to fit on here, but that doesn't look like that's gonna fit. Well, let's just try it and find out. Oh, it actually does. Okay, sorry. Didn't look like that was gonna fit on there, but there we go. Do you think Bandai will release any other variation of the MG Kyrios, like the booster type from 00 variations? Kenneth, I would say, because they mentioned it in the manual, that it's very possible. I'm not sure if it would be as like a full other separate kit or it would be like an add-on set for this. But in case you guys haven't seen in the manual, hang on, I'll show it to you in just a second. In case you've not seen that, there is a bit in the manual where it mentions about the optional equipment. So it's kind of weird that they would mention that for any particular reason. So maybe they will make that for this. Here, I'll show you. Here in the center, there's a little note here, and it says, there is also optional equipment in the form of tail units equipped with various missiles and air-to-surface bombs, and tail boosters consisting of large GN verniers. So, and they have a still from the anime there and everything, so maybe they will make that. It would be cool. So let's see, let's get this hand put together here. Those clear parts are there to act as a magnification lens for the stickers, and not as if it matters too much. You can't see. Yeah, through the dark green you can't really see the sticker on there very well, but I mean if you look carefully, there is the text on the sticker and everything, and like the sticker being chrome does make it shine a little bit brighter, but I don't know why they just don't use a lighter color green for the clear green. Why they always make it in such a dark clear green. Again, I think like on the finished kit, I guess like it looks fine, but using a lighter color green, it's just seems like the more logical thing in my mind, but who knows? So let's see. That's a wrap on the hand here. I'm just gonna go for the closed fists for the time being. I'll just pop into there. So you've got rotation here and also a hinge, and actually a hinge at the base of the forearm there as well. So some nice hinge action there for that. Got optional hand parts. Let's go ahead and pop this on. Ooh. It's tight, and yeah. Oh, oops. Oops. You're supposed to put it on upside down and then rotate it. Yeah, so kind of damaged my peg there a little bit. Oopsies. Sorry. There's a little tab sticking up there, and now mine is a little bit destroyed, but it's okay. If you just try to put it on straight, you'll kind of destroy that a little bit. So just make sure you pay attention to the manual, put it on upside down, then rotate it, then it's locked into place and it won't come off. So it's a good good system that Bandai made there. They just... I'm just dumb. It's user error on that one. Let's see. It's no great loss. It's not a big thing. Even if I were to completely cut off that little tab on the peg there, it wouldn't really be a problem. It just means that the arm would be a little bit more susceptible to coming off, but really only if you are like intentionally trying to pull it off. So Hasaki, about the MG Extreme, someone asked about that a little bit earlier, I think maybe before you came in. I don't really have any thoughts about the MG Extreme really too much at this point, because it's something I've only kind of just really heard mentioned of, and we don't really know anything about it as far as I know, so I'll hold off any judgment on it until I actually know more about what it is. But it seems doing something like that, like the PG Unleashed and MG Extreme, it just seems a little bit unnecessary. But okay, Bandai, whatever, you do you. You know, as long as the kit's cool, I don't really care what the label is on it, you know what I mean? So, we'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. If it's like, because you know, with like how great and super detailed a lot of like the recent MGs are, I'm not really sure like how much they could really push the MG line any more than what they already are doing, except for maybe making like the inner frames like really super detailed, because you know, like some MG kits are here and there, some are much more detailed than others. Maybe they're just gonna make it like a super detailed inner frame or something like that. That could be cool. But another thing that I think would be cool that I would like to see is them integrating some more of like the open hatch kind of gimmicks like you see with like some perfect grade kits. Some more of that onto like master grade kits. That would be cool. I'd like that. Otherwise, I'm not really sure, you know, what MG Extreme is gonna entail, but we'll find out soon enough, I imagine. Could have metal parts for bigger kits. That's also, yeah, that could be. Ricky, that's a good guess. Something sort of like the high-res line or something like that, where it's gonna, yeah, a little bit more expensive, basically, because it's using, you know, other different expensive technologies. Speedball Haro said, "Hey Zach, do you think the new LMHG announcement might be revival of the original LM line?" I guess so, kind of, but I don't really know. I'm a little bit confused about that myself too, actually. So I don't know. The MG EX line. Oh yeah, Ricky with another good point there. It could be for bigger kits. That's true, but I mean, like, they've already gotten pretty big. Like, they've made like the Deep Striker, and that's kind of like about as big as you could get without it getting into like mobile armor, like full-on mobile armor. So that's a possibility though. I don't know if they made like a. I mean, Winged Wolf there would point out the obvious guess that I think a lot of us would think of as be an excuse to release the Kashatre set. So yeah, like, that's a big one that would probably require metal parts for the binder connections, and could be like an MG Extreme, I suppose. But it could just be something like a 2.0 unicorn or something like that as well, actually, you know. Because what was the name, like, for the perfect grade unicorn? What was the Unleashed form? Is that's what they used for like the extra additional transformation gimmicks that they added for the perfect grade unicorn? Because it was like destroy mode, and then with destroy mode unleashed, right? Wasn't it? So if they were to make like something like that, like including some of those extra gimmicks from the PG into like a 2.0 master grade of the unicorn, I could see them calling it like master grade extreme kind of thing. Like how the Wing Gundam coming out is not labeled as a Wing Gundam 2.0, but it is a 2.0. But just because it's coming out in a different line, it's not using that same name, because it's coming out as a Verka now. They're not calling it a 2.0. That could be that same thing with the Unicorn. They're not calling it a Unicorn 2.0, they're just calling it the Master Grade Extreme, but it's a Unicorn 2.0. You know what I mean? So, we shall see. Master Grade Extreme Big Zam. You know, I'm sure I mentioned about this before, but I just can't think about Big Zam without thinking about that video, the YouTube video of the guys playing Gundam Battle Assault 2, and the one guy keeps picking Big Zam. I'm sure I've talked about this in past videos before too, and some of you must know what I'm talking about. I forget what the channel is called. It's called like Retro Gaming, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, there's a million different similar channels like that, right? But I forgot this part. Madden said, "Hey Uncle Zach, will there be an MG Delta Gundam Delta Kai?" Not that I know of, but I would love if there was. I would love a Master Grade Delta Kai. Game Grumps, thank you guys. Thanks for following up on that. Yeah, Game Grumps, that's what it was. The Game Grumps video of them playing Gundam Battle Assault 2. Guys, look that up if you've never seen it. It's pretty funny. So now, anytime anyone's talking about Big Zam, that's the first thing that comes to my mind now. I actually didn't come across that video by myself. Like, one of my high school friends, I guess maybe he follows that channel or whatever. I don't really watch much gaming channels on YouTube. But a friend of mine sent that video to me way back when, because he knew I was into Gundam stuff, of course, so that was pretty funny. As far as the MG EX goes, do you think the rest of the IBO frames would come out in that line? I don't think so. I wouldn't think that that would be anything Iron Blood Orphans related. Because if they were gonna do that, they would have had to start with the Barbatos. Like if they would have, like, and the Barbatos is such, like, is so good and unique of a build. I think if they would have made like the Master Grade Barbatos come out like with that label, it's like Master Grade Extreme Barbatos, I would have said, okay, yeah, I get it. Like it's a very detailed and like really cool kit to build. So like making a whole new kind of like sub label for that, I could have understood. And then, you know, other future Master Grade Iron Blood Orphans kits, they'll all be released as Master Grade Extreme. Kind of, that would have made sense to me. But at this point, after the Barbatos is already out, they can't really backtrack. I would think. I'd say, well, the MG Barbatos was not extreme, but now the Kyrios, which is, you know, based on the same thing, it's extreme. Then it would sound like just kind of like they're just tacking it on just to try to sell the kit more rather than actually making anything actually new. MG Devil Gundam. I mean, you guys are just getting silly now, but it's kind of funny. Like I had never really heard people, you know, people always joke about like making a PG ball or whatever, something like that, but I never really heard people joke too much about the Devil Gundam, only until more recently, now that the kit was like re-released. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention or something, but like I picked up the kit and reviewed that because it was one that I'd always been interested in, so I took the opportunity to check it out once it got a reissue. And it seems like after that, I've seen a lot more people kind of bringing up the Devil Gundam when it comes to like joking about kit releases and stuff. Maybe I just didn't really notice it before, but oops. Let's not forget this part in here, shall we? PG ball would be dope. Yeah, I think a PG ball could be cool. I mean, the Master Grade Verka ball is really cool for what it is. I mean, a mega size ball would be kind of, I don't know if I would be so much into that, because the great thing about the ball Verka is all the inner detail, and a mega size without having all that inner detail, with it just being just a big ball, maybe not quite as exciting, I think, but that's just me. I said big balls. Indeed I did. Very astute observation there. Oh damn, sorry. If I ever, this is the problem. If I ever scroll up to check what I missed in the chat, then it doesn't keep automatically scrolling. So I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of stuff there. My bad. People hyping up the cup noodle kit over the Verka. I think the cup noodle kit is maybe kind of more exciting in a way than the Verka, just because it's something so different and new. Whereas the Wing Verka is going to be a great kit, I'm sure, but like, unless it's something that you're into, it's like just another Master Grade essentially. Whereas with the cup noodle, you can't exactly say, oh, it's just another cup noodle kit, because it's something that just doesn't exist, right? So there you go. There's the top half done. Let's move on to the waist, shall we? Greg, hey, how's it going? I don't know if you've been here for a while, Greg, and just now commenting, or if you're just now getting in here, but hello there. Do a contest with the cup noodle customs. Ah, that's an interesting idea. Custom cup noodle. Cup noodle build off. Yeah, cup noodle contest could certainly be pretty interesting. I like that idea. Ew. Real grade cup noodle. You gotta cook it. Okay, make sure I got all the parts out there. Char custom, yeah, Nicholas putting out a Char custom cup noodle. Of course, someone's gonna make a Char custom cup noodle. Someone will probably would make like a set of the two of them, recreating like the Char's kick of one cup noodle cup kicking another one. One in painted in Char's colors, one in Gundam colors. I'm sure. When we'll get a HG perfect Zeong? That's a good question. That would be cool. What are you talking about? New unicorn? What's this? Oh, hey, been here for like an hour watching you and also doing the waste on the HG Barbatos Lupus Rex. Well, hello there, Pedro. Thanks for hanging out. Glad you're hanging out. I'm gonna turn off the aircon. Getting a little bit chilly in here. Alright, let's build the waste. These big parts out of the way. And this one like this. And this one like this. And this square one on the back here. And this one slide onto the front. Like that. There. Okay. Would love a new HG Zaku tank. That would be cool too. Let's see. Saki asked, "Is your new studio away from your apartment or part of it?" No, it's away. It's separate, but it's basically like across the street. Essentially, it's like a 2 or 3 minute walk from my apartment building to this building. So, yeah, very near. So that's convenient. If I need something, or like if I want to go home to eat lunch instead of eating something here or whatever, you know, can come and go easily enough. The other kind of like positive and negative thing about working here in this space is like I'm totally fine just working by myself at home. I was never feeling like lonely being at home alone all day working when I was just working at home. But now working in this place where there are other people, it can be okay. I mean, sometimes it can be a bother, and sometimes it can be cool where I'm not necessarily like talking with the other, like my wife and other staff, like I know them here at the shop, but just like that there's other people nearby, you know, can be good, or like I said, can be annoying, just depending. But yeah, it's nice to be able to be alone in here. Like I can shut, the door is shut now, so like no one will come in. Like I have the space private, but like other times when I'm not recording or streaming, then I'll just keep the door open. But the music that they're playing in the shop is usually like some awful pop music. But fortunately it's not awful Korean pop music, which I hate. Fortunately, well, I don't know, it's just as bad, but it's like Maroon 5 and stuff like that, like Western pop music. Yeah, like Maroon 5 or like Adele, you know, that kind of stuff. Not like really super poppy, but you know. But I can't always necessarily hear it. And if I'm, you know, recording or something, or just doing some work, if I'm recording, I'm just talking, or usually I'm not really like paying attention to that. Or if I'm just building something, you know, whatever, I can just play music or whatever in here, and it drowns it out, and the door is closed, and so like it's not really a big deal. But sometimes, like now, for example, I can hear the music, and it's annoying, but whatever, it's okay. K-pop is not that bad. K-pop is that bad. Quiet you. I'll have no dissent among the ranks. We all have to be in agreement that K-pop is bad. Ah! Alright, there we go. That ball joint for the front skirt must be the same system that the Dynamis use. And I didn't remember it being a problem for the Dynamis, but it seems quite loose. Like those front skirts are going to pop out of there real easy. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but hopefully it's not going to be an issue. That flex? Wait, no, Yeru Gundamo. Did I flex something? Was I flexing something over here? Gonna go into the shop and play BTS first. No, I don't even think even if I heard a BTS song, I wouldn't be able to recognize it as BTS or any other Korean pop. I don't know anything, but yeah, just not into it. You got these guys. Oh, we're meant to also put this part together here for the beam saber. This is kind of cool how the beam sabers are plugged up underneath the back skirts. K-pop stands intensify. What is this? This is gonna be like, I'm having like an old guy moment of, what's that internet thing? But what's this with the stands? I don't know. I've been seeing that, and I feel like I need to get back to someday. Need to get back to watching PewDiePie videos so I can like know what stuff is online. Because that was like my window into the internet world. But I see it like something, and it's like something stands, K-pop stands, and something. What is that? Can someone explain that, please? I don't get it. I'm sure it's something really super obvious, and I just don't know what it is. Like, I couldn't figure out what goat meant for a long time, too. I remember that, like, seeing all the time, like, someone talking about, like, something's the goat, whatever, and I'm like, what is that? I just didn't know what it meant. And I finally, like, Googled it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's obvious. There you go. Yeah, I like how the beam saber handles are stored up underneath the back skirt. It's quite unique. I like that. It's cool. Because it doesn't have side skirts, so it makes sense. Stands is a combination of stock and fan. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. Oh, are you approaching me? I know that reference. Zaku quit Gunpla? No, I don't think I quit Gunpla. It's like you're a very big fan, you can stan Gundam, be a Gundam stan. So a stalker fan, so like it's like a super fan basically. Still. Seems kind of stupid to say, in my opinion. But okay. Do you say Gundam? Yo, why am I seeing so many Kyrios builds the last few days? Where the F is mine? Gundam Store USA. Nick, if you ordered from USA Gundam Store and you're wondering where yours is, we talked about that in this live stream, Adam and I, the other day, and he said that their shipment of MG Kyrios kits is on the way. He said at the time he was expecting that day it was like the container was being unloaded off the boat in California, so that means that they're probably, at this point, now it's Friday, maybe in transit making their way to USA Gundam Store. So I would assume probably around the beginning of next week is when they'll get them and then be getting those out. But he said they have like thousands coming, so that's a lot of pre-orders that they have to get packed and sent out of those kits. So yeah, the reason that me and other YouTubers that you've maybe seen working on this have it at this point is because like I live in Korea and I can get stuff like straight away on release day. Mine actually came from Japan though, but yeah, that's why you have maybe seen other builders who live in Japan, like Kurosama for example. He lives in Japan, so you can get it, just go to the store and get it straight away. Gundam ghosts always come to every person when it can smell Gundam model kits. Alright, dude. What do you do with the kits you build? Ian, the kits that I build, usually what happens is that if I'm not going to actually paint the build, if I'm not going to actually paint the kit straight away, then you'll usually just go back in the box and up onto the shelf and just stay there and await being painted someday, hopefully. You know, I would love to paint every kit like right away as soon as I got it, but unfortunately there's only 24 hours in a day, and I also have a wife and 2 kids to take care of as well, so you know, building, recording videos, editing videos, posting videos, all takes time, so you can't do everything all at once. You can resell it, and sometimes I have sold some kits in the past, but usually don't do that, and especially because it's it's sponsored kits. I feel a bit odd, you know, reselling those, right? I think this is something that I think a lot of people, especially like, I don't know, I'll just give you my opinion on this, and some people will agree and some people will disagree, but hopefully giving you guys my opinion on this will at least give you guys a different perspective that maybe you hadn't really thought about. When it comes to getting kits from a sponsor, so I mean getting kits for free one way or the other from a sponsor as a content creator, I mean, I can totally understand why then some people like, and then like later on after I built it and reviewed the kit, and then like later on I just wanted to sell it again because I wasn't going to do anything else with it, or selling painted builds, which I obviously do sell, usually sell my painted builds. I can understand why some people would feel like that's kind of like not really cool, getting the kit for free and then selling it. But you have to remember that you're not getting the kit for free. You're getting the kit to do promotion work for whatever the company is. Like, say, like, just for example, if Kotobukiya sent me a kit to build and review just because they wanted to promote their new line of kits, for example, they're sending me the kit for free, not for me just to have for free. They're sending me the kit for free in exchange for me showing it to you guys. It's promotion for them, right? So, and this is my work, like, so doing this, making videos, you know, is my work. So once I've built and reviewed the kit and, you know, done that as a way of promoting the kit to you guys, then like kind of the partnership over that product, over that kit between me and that company is kind of done, basically, right? Then whatever I want to do with the kit after that, at that point, I think it should be totally up to me. If I wanted to sell it, or if I wanted to keep it and paint it and then sell it, or just throw it in the trash, whatever, it really should be just totally up to me what I wanted to do with it at that point. And I think that even though the kit is something that, and then some people will say, well, you got it for free, so why don't you give it away for free? Yeah, I can agree with that too. But and like, depending on, you know, whatever my financial situation might be, but I think like, while I'm not poor, I do have a family. So like, I wouldn't say that I'm a greedy person, but I do need money, right? Like, when you have a family, you have responsibilities, like, well, I may not necessarily like super need the money, like, it's definitely useful. So it's not like I'll just, I don't know. Anyway, that's not really important. The important point is that I think whether you get the kit for free from a sponsor or whatever, after the obligation is done of doing the work to promote the kit, promote the company or the shop or whatever, in my opinion, me or whoever else, any content creator, just in this regard, whatever they do with the kit, I think, in my opinion, is perfectly fine. If they wanted to throw it away or sell it or whatever. For example, if I was in Japan and like all the kits that I was building and reviewing, and then like taking them into like Mandarake, or Mandarake doesn't take built kits, but like one of the shops that it's not Yellow Submarine, what's the other one? Well, Yellow Submarine does. But anyway, taking built, if there was a shop that took built kits in that you could like then trade in or whatever and sell, like doing something like that to whatever, anything with built kits, I just think that it should be, you know, there's not any further like obligation then at that point to like you have to keep the kit and treasure it forever because you got it for free from a company, like. And I think just using just that wording in general is not right, but I mean, that's just the easy way to put it, is saying that, that you got it for free. But again, it's not free. It's free in that you didn't pay anything for it, but it's in exchange for work. It's like trading more, basically. But so I hope that makes sense. I hope that's not insulting to anyone, but I'm sure someone will still be butthurt in some way over that answer. But most of the kits that I've gotten from different sponsors, I still have them, which is why I have boxes and boxes of kits at my house. I have resold a handful of them from time to time, just basically to clear space more than anything, and I have resold them for like practically nothing, practically the cost of shipping. So like a year or so ago, like I sold a handful of kits and I was selling like high grade kits for like $5 each. So like that's pretty much just the cost of shipping, that's all. It wasn't necessarily like I was trying to make money off it, turning it into a business or something of reselling kits that I've got for making reviews. So anyway, I won't dwell on that any longer. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And you guys can agree or disagree, but at least now you've heard, one side of that, which maybe it was not something that you've thought too much about before. So there it is. Anyway. Yeah, that's a LP sold in. Exactly. That's a good point too. It means that you're the product. Yeah, exactly. I'm the product, right? Basically for the company, or the service. I think is probably more apt answer or wording for that. The company is paying for a service, not in cash, but in the product that they're giving you in exchange for a service. Which, again, is just a promotion. So other companies, like McDonald's, for example, would pay another company to produce a commercial for them that they'll play on TV for advertisement. Model shops and different model companies and things like that, paint companies and stuff, will usually not pay money in most cases, I think, but just give products in exchange as payment for a service of advertising done by someone like me. Yeah. Can I review the Super Minipla Megazord? No. I am interested in checking out some Super Minipla kits at some point in the future, but probably wouldn't be the Megazord or anything like that. It's just not something that I'm interested in. I would honestly like to check out some of the Super Minipla Votams kits. They're just... I'm sure I've talked about this before in some past video or something. Probably another live stream before. But they're just really expensive, too. For what they are. At least from my perception. They just seem very expensive for what they are. Not Voltron. Votams. Let's see. Eh? Well, that's just supposed to go on there, and this part's just kind of like free floating on there, I guess. Or fits into here, like that. There we go. For the extending GN vernier here on the side of the leg. So, it's a cool little gimmick. Let's see. Those companies are getting a good deal. You probably spend a good amount of hours on reviewing the kits. Break down that cost. Oh, yeah, definitely. Bishop Mochi over there on Twitch. Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's just because that hasn't changed yet. Hopefully it will change in the future. I think for like a lot of other companies, like other content creators like who do camera reviews and stuff, and probably, I don't know, this probably could be different. I can't imagine that like Canon is paying any YouTubers to review their cameras, but I don't know, for other stuff. Yeah, for other things, a lot of times YouTubers will get the product for free and also get paid as well for doing videos promoting different products. But as far as I know, that just doesn't really happen in Gunpla. Now, like, it happened, like, for me, yes, it is like that in a way, just because I'm working for USA Gundam Store, like, as an employee. So, like, it's not like I'm paid for, like, each review, but just, like, paid as just a normal employee. And my responsibility for the company is making reviews and doing the promotion, all that stuff as well. So, it's kind of like that, but unfortunately, like, for me and other content creators, like, up until now, for the most part, it has still been pretty limited to just getting the products for free and not getting any other additional payment. But yeah, it does. It takes a lot of time to build, review, And I think the problem is that there's been so like, I don't know how well other like some of these companies are maybe like consciously aware of this or not, but I think because there's so many people who would be willing to do it for free, they don't feel the need to pay anyone to do it. So like if a company, like let's just say for example Scott from SMS Paints approached me and said, hey, I want to send you some paints to try out, and then just for some promotion there, I would like for you to make a video trying out some of my paints, which I have done for Scott. And I was happy to do it. I didn't ask him for money in that case, but if in that case I had said, oh yeah, sure, I'll review the paints, but it's also going to cost you it's also going to cost you like, let's just say for example $200. So like he needs to send the paints and then he needs to also pay me just $200 for just the time and effort and everything, you know, that goes into the actual video production and all that stuff as well too, which I think is fair. But because that's not the norm in the like kind of Gunpla modeling world for the most part, as far as I know, because that's not the norm, I think he would probably just think like, well, I'm sure there's a bunch of other modelers he could find that maybe wouldn't have the same number of subscribers or whatever that my YouTube channel has, so it might be a smaller channel, but someone who would be willing to do it for free, who wouldn't ask for any money. So in that case, you know, maybe just save the money and just send some free samples to a few other different smaller channels, or a few different like Instagram modelers and stuff. Would be, you know, much cheaper for him than, you know, sending stuff to me and money paying for that as well. Does that make sense? Because you get what I mean. I feel like I'm maybe not explaining it super well, but you get what I mean anyway. So yeah, I am hoping that will change more into the future, especially now. Sorry for smashing the camera there. Especially now these days that you're seeing a lot more Gundam channels. Like in the earlier days, most channels, the quality was just not like that super high quality, but you're seeing a lot more higher quality channels and like a lot more higher quality videos being produced these days. So hopefully that more YouTubers will start asking for money, or more companies will start assuming that they need to pay money for promotion aside from just sending products as well too, because honestly that is a much more fair trade, because we do, like as content creators, have a lot of power to help spread the word, good or bad, about different products. And that's one thing too. From my experience of anything that I've got for free from different companies, like paints or tools or anything, I've never had a company like give me a script for what I need to say, or like insist that it be a good review of the products. It's just that they've sent me the products to try out and didn't give me any other. And this goes for like USA Gundam Store as well. And then before USA Gundam Store, I was working with a different company in Australia as well, and just never been instructed to make the review one way or the other. So that's good. Like if I did not have good things to say about a particular product, I would never feel not able to say that, you know what I mean? I don't know what I was just talking about before that, why I made that point. Now I kind of lost my train of thought, but anyway, sorry, D2 Warrior, thank you for using the super chat. I was just kind of on a rant there, so I missed giving you an immediate reply here to your super chat, but thank you for using the super chat as always. I appreciate that. You said, in the case of athletes, they get all the merchandise for free plus a contract. I guess my point is the kits are yours in marketing, Bandai is getting a very expensive promo. Yeah, that's a couple of good points there. Is that working on a contract would be good as well, and that's kind of like what I have like with USA Gundam Store, like being an employee. It's a little bit different, not like having a contract with like if you were a runner and having a contract with Nike. It's not exactly the same, but kind of like that, yeah. And it's, especially in the case of Nike, because I had a high school friend, actually, it was a high school ex-girlfriend who is now, as far as I know, she's still sponsored by Nike. She's an Olympic athlete now. But I had talked to her a couple years ago because she was going to the Olympics or something, so I was just talking to her about that. Because we still like stay in touch very rarely, not much at all, but we're still friends. Our relationship ended on a good note, is all I mean to say. But yeah, hearing from her about like what it was like to be sponsored by Nike. I mean, obviously it's a big deal, and like she was super excited about it, but it was very limiting. She said like she was limited to like what she couldn't say anything like too like controversial on social media, things like that. So like those companies do watch you really closely when they're sponsoring you for stuff like that, and just like I can't imagine ever having that sort of experience in anything like what we're doing in modeling world. But so that's good. Anyway, and then you also, T2 Warrior also made the point about Bandai getting expensive. That's the thing too. As far as I know, Bandai doesn't really send out products or pay anyone really for promotion. But man, they should, because they're getting tons and tons of free promotion of their products through YouTubers like me and other people who are like I'm paid from USA Gundam Store, but actually Bandai should be paying me because USA Gundam Store buys their stuff from Bandai, and so like they're paying for the products and paying for the promotion. That like Bandai should be paying for the promotion, right? It's their products. You know what I mean? So yeah, Bandai is certainly getting the good end of the deal all around. That's for sure. And I wish they would work more with content creators, because I think there would be a lot of really great opportunities there for them. But you know, for a lot of different reasons, I can understand why they don't. Language barrier, obviously, being the first and foremost. So, you know, I don't know. I have gotten stuff from Bandai once before, and you know, it would be cool to get stuff from them like sort of regularly. I think maybe they send some products to like some Japanese bloggers ahead of time. So you see like some of the bloggers will get kits and do like their blog reviews like a week or so ahead of the kit's release. So like I think that does exist, that they do that. But yeah, it's just very rare. And why is this part not wanting to go in here? LP Solden asked me, do you get any kickbacks or something from your coupon usage? No. That's a good question, actually, and no one's really ever really asked me that. But I've seen a lot of people just kind of assuming that, but no, I don't. I know that's how with some companies or something like that does, yeah. Like for example, for people who like share like Amazon links or something, like they get commission or something, right? You know, like if you use the affiliated links to buy stuff off Amazon from like using a YouTuber's links, like they'll get a certain percent of that or something. But yeah, not for me. I know that's not how it works for me. But it does. But using like my coupon code does at least let like Adam at USA Gundam Store let them know that like they're getting traffic and they know it's coming from me because people are using my coupon code. So it does remind them of my value to the company. You know what I mean? So it is good that you guys use that. It doesn't. It actually doesn't affect me personally one way or the other. Other than just that it keeps my job secure. But I'm not really too worried about that either. You know. I think my job is pretty secure anyway. But it certainly just helps. So it kind of bums me out because I assumed it did, and I spent. Well, Soul Reaver, like I said, I sorry, I don't mean to bum you out that it doesn't benefit me directly, but like I said, it does benefit me in just you know, making sure that that Adam knows that people are still, you know, watching my content, and then through watching my content being exposed to me reminding you guys about using the code and shopping on the site, whatever, promotion for the site. So yeah, it doesn't help me directly, but it's still good for you guys to use. I mean, and I'm not the only one who has a USA Gundam Store coupon code. I know, like, Tim has one. There's a bunch of people. Joel has one, like True Gunpla. So whoever's you use, I mean, it's fine. Doesn't really. It's the same for all of us, as far as I know. No one gets like any kickback or commission or anything like that for the use of their code. So it's just something to just help promote the store. I know I can say this just for me, but I think I can probably speak for everyone else who works for or works with USA Gundam Store. So like again, just like using Tim and Joel as a couple of examples. Or let's just stick with Tim. Tim is certainly not an employee of USA Gundam Store, but does work a lot together with them, of course, and just we're friends and everything. So using shit, I just lost what I was gonna say. Anyway, yeah, you guys get the idea. Use the code. That's all. Yeah, the Ungawa. It is probably a good guess that you know, I just having the largest social media platform among the others, like Tim and Joel and others, just because I have the largest social media following, it is logical to assume that my coupon code probably does get used the most, and I do bring the most traffic to the site. And I don't know for sure, but it's a fair assumption. Yeah. Oh yeah, Bro Builder's got his as well too, right? Yeah, Bro Builder just got on the team, I guess you could say. So yeah, that was great. Basically, Adam's a great guy to work with. And I think kind of lost my train of thought, but I think the point that I was going to make a minute ago was that we are not we're not pitching the coupon code to you guys to get something back for us, but it's because we actually do, because we actually are invested in the business, just not monetarily, but just how would you say that? Invested in just that we want the business to succeed. Because we're friends with Adam, we like Adam, we want the business to do well because we think it's a good company, it's good for the community. So by sharing the discount code and just sharing the website with you guys, reminding you guys that you can buy stuff, whatever there is, for the most part, I said, done just to help the company, not for any personal gain. For me, it is my job to work for the company, but for the other guys, they're not working for the company. They just want to see the company do well. So, the problem with stores in the US is the COVID thing. Let's see, I'm reading a comment off of Twitch now. Shipping has been shut down. The normal methods like a Bluefin just completely shut down all methods, so they've been getting stuff directly from Bandai, which takes time. Yes, right. How USA Gundam Store has been getting stuff directly from Bandai recently, which has been helpful to keep up with stuff, keep up with the demand, because there's a high demand, as we were talking about in the stream the other night. But yes, certainly the COVID situation has made it difficult, but so far they've been able to work around that and still, do as best they can to keep up with demand from everyone. And DT Warrior, again, thank you for using the super chat there again. With the 2 more questions here, gladly. On a previous stream, you with Adam, you guys mentioned something about Gunpla and Toys R Us. Can you elaborate? I don't really know too much about this. Other guys are more educated on this topic. I'm sorry to say I probably won't be able to give you much except a very vague answer on that, but just that before, like when Gundam was first shown on Toonami and was first kind of blowing up here in the States with people, especially like my generation age people, like late 90s and early 2000s, and we could get different Gundam toys and model kits like through stores like Toys R Us sold them, but it was something with just the deal with Bandai and Toys R Us just for some reason wasn't going well or was soured by something. I don't really remember what it is, but something, just the deal was going bad, and then because of that, Bandai was so hesitant to work with any other companies, so that we just weren't able to get Gunpla in stores anywhere here, because Bandai basically just pulled out of North America and just kind of give up on North America store sales for a while until just recently again, basically, right? So that's why it's kind of a big deal why stuff's now like back in stores. Like over the past couple of years, they've had stuff at Barnes & Noble, but then now also in places so like Hobby Lobby and Target, now recently also selling Gunpla as well. So I can't give you much more of a detailed answer than that, I'm sorry to say, because I don't know too much more exactly about the details. Adam probably does, so maybe it's something we can talk more about in the next video. I'll try to remember that. If not, just ask it again for the next live stream. We'll try to discuss that more in detail. And then what was your second question? Question 2, plans to come to the US are still on? I always forget to use your code. Yes, for the time being, yes. Our plans to move to the US, yes, are still on. The plans to go to the US for the Mecha Model Expo there for USA Gundam Store. I don't know what I can say about that being on or not. I know currently it's kind of in limbo whether it's to the expo will still happen or not. But I can tell you that I will definitely not be there because of the quarantine situation. If I go there, I have to self-quarantine for like 2 weeks before I would be able to go. So that means I'd have to go like 2 weeks early to quarantine for 2 weeks before I could actually attend the event. And then when I come back to Korea, I have to quarantine here for 2 weeks before I can go around. So because of that, just I won't be able to go, certainly. As far as the expo just happening in general, at the moment, yeah, it's up in the air. But we're planning on me going there at least like sometime in the next few months after that. So probably around the end of this year, or more likely beginning of next year. Planning on me going there just to visit, spend some time there at the shop, make some videos there at the shop, and we'll probably plan some sort of meetup or something like that at that time as well there too. Maybe some sort of small event at the time, so anyone who's living in the area can come through and hang out at that time as well. But yeah, hopefully that answers your questions well enough. We were planning on like my family all moving back to the US in like the spring of next year, but it's been we've postponed that for a few different reasons I don't really need to get into. It's complicated, but coronavirus is certainly one of the reasons. The whole situation related to that is certainly part of the reason why we delayed moving, but not entirely the reason. So here's the full body is done, and I think it looks great. I love the little bit longer legs that this one has, because it's up on like kind of higher heels and got the kind of longer legs. So I really dig the proportions of it. The gigantic wing knees, I love. It's just so goofy and cool. Speedball Harold, will you live chat at the expo? Oh, that's a great idea. I actually hadn't thought about that. So if the expo does still end up happening, that's certainly something that we could set up. I can just do just kind of live, you know, just kind of chat with you guys there just via, you know, Skype or whatever, however we set that up. Yeah, that's a cool idea, definitely. I'll mention that to Adam actually. Shit. Sorry. My comment stream for Twitch was paused again. Saw some stores in Japan have certified unopened stuff next to some kits, and I totally understand why. Yeah. Yeah, as far as people wanting a 2.0 of the Exia, I've never built just the standard MG Exia, so I can't really speak too much on the quality of that, you know, but I've heard a lot of people complaining about it, and I've also heard a lot of people saying it's not that bad. And I've built a couple of variants of it, and I didn't really think it was that bad. So I think the complaints about it are probably a little bit overhyped, but that said, it is pretty old. So I mean, and they have the new frame parts that they're using for the Dynamace and now this kit. So I mean, to take this opportunity to make a new Exia kit would kind of make sense. I mean, why not? If you've got, you know, like at least the majority of the frame at least already done here with this, and then the Exia is a super popular design, so I'm sure it would sell well anyway. So it's not like if people were pushing for like a really obscure kit to be made out of this, you know. So, how likely is it that we'll see like a 2.0 Exia? I don't know how likely it is, but it's very possible. And I think, in my opinion, it would make sense to just go ahead and make one. But Bandai is strange. Detour, you're off then. I appreciate you coming, hanging out, using the super chat. Very cool, and hopefully answered your questions well enough there as well. So enjoy the rest of your day. Yeru said, first stream, and I've enjoyed it so far, but I gotta go. Have fun, everyone. Well, glad you could catch the stream, and glad it was enjoyable. It's my first stream here in this new space. I gotta say, I do like it. It seems like the lighting on me is better. The lighting on this working space I think is better, so I'm happy with the stream quality for building here in this new space. I think will be good. So the sound quality is good too. How is it? And in the video a few days ago, like the first intro video, I said I was worried about the sound in here, but people have been saying that it sounds fine, so I guess my mic is good enough. It's not really picking up too much of the reverberation in here too much. As long as I'm staying pretty close to the mic as well too. I think that's what I learned. In that first video, I was a little bit farther away from the mic, so it was picking up more of the reverb. So I actually, and people were saying in the comments like, oh, I couldn't hear any reverb. That was because I edited it out. I edited the sound on that video to fix, I removed some of the room reverb. But after that, the past couple days, I've been using it more closer to me, and I think it's better. I didn't need to edit it out after that. Most seem to have problems with the ankles being weak, but again, mine are fairly sturdy so far. Yeah, Raven on Twitch talking about the Masquerade Exia. Yeah, that's the most common thing that I always hear people mention about the Masquerade Exia is that it's got weak ankles. But with a kit like that, you have to have it up on action base doing like some super dynamic pose anyways. I mean, in that case, the ankles really don't matter that much, right? I meant to show this to you guys earlier, but I think I just kind of like wasn't really too worried about it. But I noticed this when I was cutting out the parts, that the pilot figures for this, the standing pilot figure certainly looks right for 100 scale, but the seated pilot figure inside there, it looks way tiny. It looks much smaller in comparison. That's a massive fly. That's the fly that was in my light earlier. Now it's flying over there, and it's gigantic. It's a monster fly. And I don't think I have a fly swatter in here. Shit, it flew over my head. It's huge. Luckily, it's not like a horsefly. I'm not worried about like biting me or anything, but it's just gigantic. Yikes. When will you tour your new Gunplay room? Kelvin, I kind of did that. That's the tour that I did in the update video I made the other day. That's kind of the most that you're gonna get for a tour for this room. Because like I mentioned in that video, my actual like desk space over there, like working desk, is the setup for that is pretty much the same as what I was working with before, which I went over that in my video going over the Hobby Zone stuff that I got. So kind of already covered that in that video. And otherwise, there wasn't really too much else to really get into as far as showing anything more about this room. So you've kind of already just seen it already, if you saw that video the other day. They always shrink the in-cockpit figure, yeah, to make the most of the space. Yeah. Raven, yes, that's correct. Usually the seated pilot figure is a little bit smaller. And honestly, I don't really care that much. I'm not worried about it, but it was just something that I wanted to point out to you guys, because I noticed that, and I forgot to remove the nubs on this clear part. What's your opinion? There's a perception check asking me again about my opinion about the MG Extreme. We've talked about this a couple times already. Sorry, perception check, so I won't really get into it again, but at this point I don't really have too much to say about the Masquerade Extreme because we don't really know anything about it, so I'm just holding off my judgment until we know more about what exactly it is. XN Sunsever or XN Sever asks, how's the build going thus far? So far it's good. I think this is something that I'll definitely mention in the review as well, but Will? Someone wanted to come in the back door. One of the staff, I guess, but I can't see who it is. Anyway, something I'm sure I'll mention in the review as well, but I'll just mention to you guys now. Damn, it's noisy. If this kit would have come out before the Dynamis, I feel like there would have been a lot more hype for it. I mean, there's been plenty of hype for this kit already, of course, but I think like there's a bit of this effect going on where like the Dynamis was so good, and now this is basically just like kind of the same thing. It's like equally as good, but because it's not first, it's less exciting. You get what I mean? This is actually probably good practice for me to figure out exactly how I want to word this live with you guys, and then in the review I can be more precise in my wording of how I want to say this point. But yeah, the Dynamis was so exciting because it was something new, where this is still equally good but less new. It's not as exciting, so that's unfortunate for this kit, but I think that's kind of what seems to be the case a little bit. People went crazy praising the Dynamis. Like, it was a great kit, it was such a good kit. And with this one, I feel like probably a lot of, I have not watched a ton of reviews or anything about this, but I'm feeling like probably a lot of the reviews are going to be saying like, it's a great kit, but not like, it's an amazing great kit like they do with the Dynamis. But it's equally as good, I'm sure. It's just that it did it second instead of doing it first. So that makes sense, right? You guys get what I mean. Do you agree with that or not? That's the question. Does anyone agree with me? Really? Dang. I'm sure the fly has been in here all morning, but why is it just now deciding to fly around all over the place? Like, I'm not like freaking out like it's gonna land on me or something. It's just like kind of annoying. Nick A, yeah, it's basically the same frame. It's mostly all the same frame, and using even like some of the same armor parts, like on the thighs and the upper arm. Like, it's kind of like generic armor parts between the different kits. They're the same. So yeah. And I was trying to think about like, okay, well maybe the Dynamis like had some more or cooler gimmicks built into it compared to this one, but really, I mean, like, if you're comparing the gimmicks between the two of them, they're pretty much the same too. The Dynamis, okay, it has cool weapons gimmicks of like having the pistols in like the pistol holsters, things that you can have plugged onto it, and you have like the whole like shield parts that can like close up in the front, and like those can move around and stuff. And you have like the expanding GN verniers out the back skirt of that. But in this case, you have the same expanding GN verniers gimmick, but this time it's on the side of the legs instead of the back skirt. Instead of all the weapons gimmicks, you still have some weapons gimmicks with this too, as you have the missile launcher pods, things that can attach onto its arms. Or you can attach the handle to, right? Or something like that. Anyway. So you got those. And you got the big shield. The shield with the whole scissor gimmick that opens up and everything. And then of course you got the whole transformation gimmick as well too. So I think when it comes to like gimmicks between the two of them, they're pretty evenly split as being pretty one-to-one in terms of like their gimmicks as well, actually. So I think it's kind of just seems to be the case that the kits are going to be very equal, like in terms of critical analysis, objective analysis. If you're being objective about it, like any good or bad points that you would have made about one kit, it seems like it's pretty equally applicable to the other as well. So like if you said the Dynamis was amazing because it had an amazing frame, good exterior detail, cool gimmicks, all those same things all apply to this kit as well. So I think they're equally good. Now that I've just kind of am in the finishing stages of putting this kit together, I would have to say that's what I'm thinking at this point on this kit. Oh. This one goes up into here first. Hey, Zaku, do you think it's better to apply clear coat? What did you say? Sorry. Apply clear coat before panel lining. Yes. If you're panel lining directly on the plastic, it's not really necessary, but I wouldn't really recommend that. Better to panel line over paint, in which case, yes, you should gloss coat before that. But if your base paint is a really glossy paint, then you don't necessarily need to do that. So it kind of just depends. The point is that you need a glossy surface to do panel lining on. Alvin said, the way you describe the lack of novelty here compared to the Dynabase makes me think of Mechagoikotsu's realization that the RG inner frame couldn't always be S plus tier. I think I kind of get what you mean. Like the new MG style built inner frame. Yes, I kind of get what you mean. So you're saying that like, it's good, but like if you apply that, like if you were applied S plus tier ranking to the Dynamace, then you have to apply that to this one as well too, even though it doesn't have the same like excitement factor to it because it's less new. It does still check all the same boxes to be as an S plus tier. Which, I mean, I mean, that seems totally fair. Like, if you were being an objective reviewer, that seems like exactly how you should review it. So I wouldn't really necessarily see that as a problem. It just seems like it's the logical answer. Which recent MG would you recommend the most? Dynamace, Barbatos, Faz, Alex, Kyrios? Probably the Barbatos, to be honest, because it's, especially if you've built a lot of Master Grade kits before, just because the Barbatos is so different and unique. It was such a enjoyable kit to build because it was so different and quite intricate build. A lot of parts of the frame of that kit were quite intricate to put together. So if that's what you're looking for, then definitely go for the Barbatos. But the Dynamace, the Kyrios, also very good. Nice gimmicks. They look great. Super solid. The Faz, it's very big and very cool. You can't really do a whole lot with it. But if you're just looking for something big and cool, then that fits the bill. The Alex is just kind of more of the wild card. The Alex is just, if you really like the design of the Alex, then go for it. If you're not like a big fan of the Alex's design, then it's not really necessarily one that I would say you have to check out. It's a really good kit for what it is, but if you're not that into it, then I think you wouldn't really be that excited. Whereas with the Barbatos, I can say that I think even if you're not that big of a fan of the Barbatos, you could still really enjoy that kit just because it's such a fun kit. Because like me, I was never like a super big fan of the Barbatos, but I love that kit. It was a great kit to work on. It looks awesome. It's a great Master Grade, so hope that makes sense. Isn't it the blue frame with the Gatling gun? Yes, if you're talking about Astrays, yeah. Sounds more like the blue frame Astray, yes. The blue frame Astray is the one, yeah, with the giant sword that splits with the Gatling gun, right? Or that's the blue frame second second revised, something like that. I don't know. I get those confused. Dalong gave the Dynamace 122 and Kyrios 120. I mean, basically the same. I wonder what his reasoning was for that. I'd have to check. I don't know offhand. Where do we get to the actual handles for this? Oh. So these handles just plug up into place there. That's it? Oh, that's it. Okay. So yeah, the handles can be plugged up in. Let me clear the space so you guys can see more clearly. The handle just plugs up right into the base of that. Alternatively, you have these parts which will connect into the back of the arm for plugging this onto the back of the arm. Well, actually they'd be on the side of the arm, but the connection is onto the back of the arm. So you have some cool options there. And for just the submachine gun, the handle will just plug up into there. And this handle doesn't seem like it is going to have the most secure connection. I'm going to be a little bit nervous about that. It seems solid in there enough for the time being, but if you pull this in and out a couple times, I feel like that's going to really be loosened up to the point where it's going to be falling out on you, so maybe be a little bit careful with that. Put the handle up in there and don't take it out again. Let's see, how does this work? How does this work? The scope camera on the top of this is meant to move up and down. You just kind of have to pull it up, or what? Oh, yeah, that's just gonna pull that up and that will move up, or you can close that back down like that. Alright. Annyeong from Busan. Rebuilding the RE100 Mark III whilst watching it. Well, annyeong to Busan. I like Busan. Haven't been there in a while though, for obvious reasons, but looking forward to going again. The only thing about Busan is that the traffic is bad. It sucks to drive in Busan. But aside from that, it's a fun place. Let's see. So said, as weird as it may be, I was more excited when I heard this kit was coming out. Not a huge fan of the transformation, but loving that we can slowly compete the MG Gundam Power Rangers. Yeah. I mean, there's still gonna be fans of the Gundam. And I'm sure when the inevitable Virtue announcement comes out, people are gonna be stoked for that as well. And then at that point, we've already had 2 of them out, so maybe it'll be even much less exciting at that point. But I kind of doubt it. I'm sure people will be really super excited for that, just because it's a quite different one with the whole gimmick of the Nadle and everything. Go. Zach, what Zaku model would you recommend for a beginner to build? Probably my favorite Zaku models among HG would be the Zaku HUC Zaku 2 F2 or the HG the Origin Zaku. Any of they're all the same basically, just different option parts and stuff, different colors, but any of those. For Master Grade though, any Master Grade 2.0 Zaku is great, so you can't really go wrong. Again, they're all pretty much the same, so just different options and things. So any one of those would be a good pick for a good Zaku. As far as like what's best for a beginner, I don't know, those recommendations don't really come with the consideration of being for a beginner, just as being great Zaku kits in general. So, I mean, take that as you may. But none of those recommendations are necessarily like difficult kits, so you don't need to worry about that. Alright, there's that, and we're gonna connect these guys onto the side of here, and here. Oh, alright. Let's just hope they put an additional rifle and shield for an Adlace, so you have the choice of how to display it. Yeah, I would assume, Raven, that they will include the Nadlays, the beam rifle, and shield in there. It would really suck if they didn't. I would assume that they would, but yeah, I hadn't really actually thought about that. It's a good point, you know. Bandai does sometimes do some pretty shitty stuff like that, like not including that kind of stuff, but for the Master Grade, I would imagine they would definitely include that in the box for something like that. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, let's see, this part here is onto there. Slide that down. And this one onto here, and this one onto here. Just another completely unrelated side note topic here for you guys. Just recently, or the past couple days, I started watching on Netflix. I don't know if this is actually a Netflix show or if it's a different show that's just on Netflix. I didn't look that carefully, but on Netflix I was watching this show called the 100. Kind of like a dystopian future, or kind of like a post-apocalypse kind of show. It's interesting. The acting is bad. It's pretty bad. But it's like exactly the kind of genre of kind of stuff that I like. I like post-apocalypse kind of sci-fi stuff and stuff like that. So it's like right up my alley. So it's bearable because like the story and like the setting is interesting to me. But the writing and the acting is pretty bad. But aside from that, I'm enjoying watching it so far. I just been watching it like as I was prepping all the parts last night for this, and like was also building up the Hazenflay 2 Raw the other day, and was watching some of that. So, have any of you guys watched it? Have you seen that? Oh, it's a CW show? That makes sense. Yeah, comical nerd there. Thanks for that. Yeah, I didn't. It seemed like something that would be like a CW show, I guess. So that makes sense. But like I said, I hadn't looked carefully. And I kind of wish that this blade part here, which is meant to come out of the shield, I wish that this was the actual. If they would have made this in like a injected silver, rather than just being white. I don't know. Maybe it was white in the show. But like for I think the Master Grade Exia's sword, I don't think it's not plated. I don't believe, as far as I can remember, but it's just like a metallic silver part, I think, isn't it? Maybe. And so I think this would have been cool like that as well. But with it being the only part in the whole kit, I can understand why they weren't going to use another color just for this part. But kind of wish that they would have looked a lot better than just being in white, I think. Yeah. The one with a bunch of teens to recreate Lord of the Flies. Yeah, I definitely got that whole. I picked up on the Lord of the Flies influence on the kit, on the show as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, any kind of setting like that, young kids, stranded on their own, fighting amongst themselves. It's gonna remind anyone of Lord of the Flies, of course. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting enough to just like kind of half watch, just like have playing while I'm working on stuff. So I'm enjoying it so far. There's like 5 seasons of it, so I'm not through the first season yet. Kind of hard to imagine that there's that much of the story. Seems like the kind of thing that they probably could finish in a single series, but all right, fair enough. So as we're wrapping up here, let me give you guys a better look at this guy. Like that. There we go. Oh, the focus is off. Let me fix that too. But yeah. let's just autofocus. That is fine now. You're gonna autofocus correctly? Sure. There we are. So yeah, it's not as well lit now at the moment, but anyway, it's all done. There we are. So very cool. Fun build. Actually, the whole time building it, I was thinking, this is going a lot slower than I expected, because I was just spending a lot of time like just trying to answer your guys' questions and talking a bunch and building actually quite slowly. But actually, looking at the time, about a little over 2.5 hours is actually what I expected. I expected the stream would take about 2.5 hours, so it's actually not that much slower than what I was expecting, actually, so that's fine. But anyway, yeah, it's awesome. You guys, if you've been watching for the past 2 hours, you kind of don't really need to watch the review much at this point, but you kind of get the idea. It's a orange version of the Dynamace. If you love the Dynamace, then you'll love this one too. If you didn't care about the Dynamace, then you probably won't really care about this, but I would definitely recommend picking up one of the two of them if you haven't. You go for whichever one you like more. I would definitely recommend checking out one of them, because it's a good, nice, solid master grade for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna grab some lunch here and then work on the review for you guys. So hopefully we'll have that posted by the end of the day, and if not, tomorrow morning. But tomorrow morning, around this same time, I'm gonna have the Gunpla critique video, so I'll be doing that live. I'll be live again tomorrow for that, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you everyone for hanging out. Thank you to everyone who used the super chat today too. I really appreciate that. Let me just see here. Winged Wolf, would you get a second version to display in flight mode? No, I mentioned a little bit earlier in the stream that I didn't really care for the flight mode of this kit, of this design. So no, I certainly wouldn't get a second kit to display one in the transformed flight mode. But I will transform it for the review after that. Brendan's just telling me that the new 35 Gachinen kits just went up for pre-order, so I gotta go, guys. I gotta go pre-order that right now. Thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Is the Vargil review coming soon? Yes, the Vargil review and also the Zeta test image color, the two kits that I live stream built 2 weeks ago. I will review those for you guys soon, probably the beginning of next week. So I'll have those reviews. Also, the Hazenflay 2 Raw, I just finished up building that yesterday. I didn't build it live because I built the Hazenflay live. I didn't feel I need to build that one live as well too. So, but that one I'll review for you guys hopefully next week as well also. So it'll be a few of those different HG kits, all P-Bandai HG kits actually. But anyway, so that's what's you can expect to see over the next few days. And like I said, tomorrow afternoon we'll be planning to work on the 1/100 scale resin God Gundam as well. So we'll have that work in progress video hopefully this weekend for you guys also. So that's coming. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next time. And just another reminder again too, that USA Gundam Store doesn't have this kit in yet, but it's on the way. Hopefully it'll be there very soon, but you can still pre-order it. So if you like the way it looks, go get your pre-order in there for that, so that way you can get one, as soon as possible. So, all right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good weekend. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, so I don't need to say that quite yet. Have a good Thursday.